as an overview, does the Ontario plan hit the mark?
The Ontario plan is slow in a number of ways. We were the last to sign on, and that we were told that this was because Ontario would get a unique deal. In fact, Ontario was getting no more than every other province has received. And the downside of that is that, well, parents across the country are already enjoying lower childcare fees. Parents in Ontario are still waiting to get that cut in fees. The other missing ingredient is enough coverage. There are 71,000 new spaces that are promised over the next 5 years. That is the lowest expansion in childcare spaces that we've seen in over a decade. So we have all this new money from the federal government, yet we're ramping up access at an even slower rate. So we're only going to have about enough spaces at the end of this for about 43,000 kids. 43% of Ontario's children 0 to 5. And that is far below what every other jurisdiction is doing. Quite frankly, other jurisdictions are trying to hit the 60-70% mark in terms of coverage. And here in Ontario, we're satisfied with 43% of kids.
So for families who want to choose to join this program where they can enjoy the $10 a day daycare, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there simply isn't enough space to fulfill the demand for this affordable daycare.
Absolutely. So if you're a parent who's already using childcare and you can see these, your cut in fees coming down the line, you've kind of won the lottery. But if you're outside the childcare system, you're no closer to getting in than you ever were before. And even, before this deal was announced and parents were paying, up to $2,000 a month for an infant space, we had long lineups for care. Right. So you can really imagine that as the cost of care goes down, more and more parents will want that option for their children, but it won't be available for them.
Now, one key component of this plan, the Ontario plan, is it only applies to institutional or shall we say regulated, licensed daycare. Sorry, I lost the word there for a moment. Mm-hmm. But there are many, many other unlicensed daycare operators, some of these at home where they might have 3 or 4 children in the neighborhood, something like that. Is there an expectation that at some point the money to increase space would flow through to some of these childcare providers, or is really the focus more to channel it into more institutional settings?
Well, there is part of who is covered under the agreement are home childcare providers that are regulated. Like these are usually providers that are connected to an agency, okay. And that agency provides them with, with a whole range of supports, in addition to overseeing the quality of care that's taking place in the home. So it provides parents with some sort of assurance that their kids are in safe settings. So I think that the thought going down is that these providers would join into the regulated care sector in order to advantage their parents with lower fees.
Okay, because yes, I mentioned this to a previous guest that with the announcement of this program, it sounds like a bubble will be created where a lot of folks will want to jump in to get obviously the daycare spots with lower fees. But again, there's not enough space to fulfill the demand, and now we're creating an artificial demand, really.
Right. Well, when we look across the board at all forms of childcare that parents use, there's not enough. There's not enough in the informal sector. There's not enough in the formal sector. So what we find parents doing, in fact, the biggest form of childcare is mom works days and dad works afternoons or evenings. And that works for some families, but you can also imagine it's like serial single parenting. It right. puts a lot of stress on family life.
Well, and forces some to choose shift work, which maybe that's not what they prefer. Mm-hmm. And it reduces sometimes parental choice in that matter. And especially, we've maybe enjoyed, for lack of a better word, a lot of more flexibility with our work arrangements for some Ontarians.
Right.
But that sounds like it's coming to an end, so things might go back to the old normal versus the new one.